Yes, in previous session we had discussed about convolution neural network on a cats and dogs images. Okay, so that was taking very large amount of time to train the your cats and dogs images because those were a color images specially, and apart from that, so there were around how many images? So around 10,000 images of cats and dogs images were present. Okay, the main reason why that training was taking more time because of the image size and uh, the color present inside it. Okay, because if you take one image of simple 100, 100 into 100 images, okay, so it will have multiply by 3 components will be there, RGB component. Okay, so it will have in each image you will have around 30,000 pixels. Okay, into you are actually training around 80,000 images. I think 8,000 images. I think I guess you are training it, right? So that is 8,000. Okay, so that means you are actually training these many number of pixels. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6, 240 into 10 to the power of 6 pixels you are actually training it in that case. Okay, so around 240 MB data you are actually training it. Okay, so training such large data will be time consuming task for your convolution neural network. Okay, we can do that one, but you need to wait for the training to complete. Okay, so now what I am doing is, okay, I am taking a less small image. Okay, so with images with a smaller sizes. Okay, so this is a classification example of a image processing. Okay, where I am going to classify the handwritten digits between 0 to 9. Okay, so whatever the digits you are going to write it, whether it is a 0 or 1 or up to 9, any numbers, so I am going to classify them. Okay, so for this we need a training set and a test set again. Okay, for this there is a standard library, okay, a database called as MNIST database. Okay, so it provides us the handwritten digits. Okay, so there are around 60,000 training samples are available and 10,000 test samples are available. Okay, and this is actually given by Ann Lee Kuhn. Okay, very famous scientist in the world of deep machine learning and deep learning. Okay, and he is actually working as a lecturer at New York University, NYU. Okay, so apart from that, he is also working as a like he is actually working with the various companies like Facebook and all. So he has provided this database because collecting the database in machine learning or deep learning is very critical, because you need to spend a lot of time in collecting data. But we have already the data which is ready, and we will take that data and we will train this training set on by using convolution neural network to classify the handwritten digits. Okay, and we will use it on a test set of about 10,000, and we will see how does your CNN use the accuracy of the model. Okay, so apart from the so that's it about the database. Okay, you can use any methods, not only like a deep learning models, you can also use them using a like k nearest neighbor classification, SVM classification, many things can be used. Okay, so there are many people's research fellows, okay, has given their presentation, okay, and their training. Okay, what is the error rate? Okay, linear classifiers based upon k nearest classifier, what is the accuracy? The minimum accuracy loss received is 0.54, so given by some shift edges method. Okay, like that various using neural network, I think you can see that, and using convolution neural network very low loss has been found out in this paper using elastic distortion in 0.4% loss. Okay, fine. That's the basic introduction to your database. Okay, so the images, you will not be able to directly see the images as soon as you download this database, but we can actually display those databases. We can display the images from the after getting the database. Okay, and this database is by default given by Keras library, right? So which library we are using for deep learning, that is neural networks or convolution neural network? So we use the Keras library. Okay, and it provides the some of the commonly used database. So your MNIST handwritten digits is a commonly used database for a machine learning or deep learning beginners. Okay, so that's why it is comes by default with the Keras library. You can directly go here to our cloud. Yeah, so let us start. So I start with the basic code of authorization. Then I'm importing the NumPy matplotlib. So here I'm adding one more library called as keras.datasets import MNIST. Okay, this is the database I'm going to import it. Apart from that, sequential dense dropout. So this is not required anyways. I'm going to comment out this. Even with that also we can do it. Okay. So flatten, convolution 2D and max pooling 2D. Okay, so these are the libraries which are required, and the NumPy utilities. Okay, this is the one more library which is required. I'll tell you why that library is required. Fine. So now Akshata, tell me why sequential is required, and what is okay, what about dense? To build the layers, not only hidden layers. Okay, sequential is required to build the to build the model sequentially, like one layer after the another layer. Okay, like complete model building, how it has to be built will be decided by the sequential, and how many layers, what is the size of the layers, and that will be decided by your dense. Okay, and then why you require convolution 2D? No. Basically, what is required? Convolution 2D. I'm asking convolution 2D because for you need to apply the convolution layer. Like for the convolution operation to happen, you require that convolution 2D function, right? Then max pooling to reduce the dimensionality. Like it will take the maximum value from the specific set of matrix based upon the what is the size of the matrix you are going to choose it, right? Then flatten layer will do what? As you said, it will convert from two-dimensional array to one-dimensional array. Okay. Fine. Now, one second. So I'm going to import all these libraries first. Then, now to load, get the this MNIST. Okay, MNIST. Okay, so if you type here MNIST, okay, data set. There are a lot of data sets also available apart from handwritten digits. Okay, so you can go here. Apart from handwritten digits, it provides various databases. Modified National Institute of Standards and Technology database. Okay, so it provides handwritten digits, and there are other data sets also available for this. Okay, like a fashion MNIST, one more database if you like to see it. Fashion MNIST database. So this is one more data set for the like it contains all necessary images in the fashion field, like dresses, various kinds of dresses. Okay, like from shorts, pants, like trousers, whatever you call, like, and t-shirts and jackets, shoes, like various kinds of shoes, even male, female, like heels, and all kinds of images are available in the MNIST database. Okay, you can use that database to train something based upon the object classification, and if you are interested, you can go for that database. Okay, currently we are using this database. Let me download it. So instead of, you can download it directly from this website also and use it. So but as I mentioned, Keras this library provides us the MNIST database directly, so I'm going to download it. Just load it here. Okay, so successfully loaded, and If you go back to your drive, okay, this is my drive, and here if I look at that, where is that CNN, okay, locate in drive, it will show where that file is present. We have loaded it, and if you want to see how does the images looks like and all, you can display and plot them. Okay, so here in auto plot I am creating a subplot 221. You know about subplots, right, Akshata? Okay, so it will just create a multiple axes, and I am using the matplotlib show plt.im show to display the image, okay, on the subplot. X train of 0. In the training set I am displaying the first image and the second image, third image and the fourth image. That means you will be able to see the 4 different images if you display it using this method. Okay, you got 5, 4, 0 and 1. These are like, look, if you look at here, so they are just yes, they are just a binary images of a handwritten words. Okay, if you want to display other sets, you can go ahead and display them others also. Like I'll display 5, 10,000, as I said 60,000 images are there. Like I'll take 5,000th image, one more I'll take 50,000, here I'll take 21,000, okay, 321, 0, 0, that is also one more image. 2739, like it contains all sorts of different images of digits between 0 to 1. Okay, let me explain once again. So first we have to build the first we start with creating an object here. So once the object has been created, we'll start building our model. Okay, so add method is the one which will be used to build your convolution neural network, or even in case of a neural networks also. Since it is the example of convolution neural network, so instead of dense we will begin with the convolution 2D, and we are choosing 32 filter, size 5 by 5, even you can go with a 3 by 3 also. Input shape is 28 by 28, 1. These images are of size 28 rows and 28 columns. Okay, since we got to know it from this website, so what is the size of the image is also been mentioned here. Okay, so each image is centered at 28 by 28. Okay, so that is the one thing, that is how these inputs have been taken. So for that purpose I have taken this size as 28 by 28, 1. Activation is ReLU, and also max pooling layer 2D. Like you can mention the pooling size here. So what is the input here will be your pooling size. Okay, pool underscore size is equal to, so you can write it is a 2, 2. That is the size of the board. Then you are applying the flatten layer. Then you created a hidden layer by using the dense method. So 128 hidden neurons will be there. Activation function is the ReLU. So then final layer with the 10 outputs, because we can expect between 0 to 10 any one of the outcome will be there. So we have 10 possible outcomes. So then we will apply the compiler. So with the categorical cross entropy, because we have more than 2 classification outcomes. So Adam optimizer is used, and metrics will be your accuracy. Any doubts in this? So we need to start training your model, right? Okay, so before we train your model, one thing we do it, right? What is that thing that we usually do it? Now before that, so we have a training and test already there, because the data itself comes splitted only. Okay, training set and test set is already there. We don't need to split it, because already when we take the data, so even the website also they mentioned they have 60,000 images for the training and 10,000 images for the testing. That's how they split it already. Okay, so we no need to split that. So normally we need to apply some sorts of pre-processing, right, to our images. Yeah, so that we will see it. Okay, before we feed our images to a your convolution neural network or any neural network or any machine learning example cases. So our task is to first verify and check if any pre-processing has to be done on the given image. Okay, so let's do it. Scale of 0 to 1. So this is the one pre-processing we are applying, and reshaping we are applying it. And if you look at, so original data is in X train. Okay, this is the pre-processed. Okay, so let us check X underscore test dot shape. Okay, so if you look at, we have 10,000 images in the training, and their size is 28 by 28. Okay, so we are bringing them to the shape 28 comma 28 comma 1 more extra additionally we are adding it. Okay, so because we have taken the input of this kind, so to match that, so we are just reshaping and by adding one extra column here. Even if you look at training set X underscore test sorry, not test, train dot shape. So there are 60,000 images are there. Now if you look at XM train, they will have same number of images only, but only one additional XM underscore train. Okay, same 60,000 images, but additionally we got one more column to match this input shape. Okay, even if it is a 2D also, the shape should here, if it is a 3D matrix, color images will have a 3 here, but since it is a 2D, so we have a only one page present here. So just to mention, it is in the particular shape, just we are reshaping it. And after doing this step, what is the next step? And we have divided all the samples by 255, so that they will be in the scale of 0 to 1. Okay. So this is the one pre-processing we have applied onto our image. So we did the data shape matching on your input data, as well as input we have divided by 255, and in the outcome expected output what we have, that is ground truth. What we did is, so they are in the 0 to 9 categories, we converted them to a categorical variables. Now we'll use this training data to train our model. Okay, so let us start with the digit classifier dot fit method, right? So this is the one method which we are going to use it for the training. So what are the things you are going to pass it? So here what we given is your input training samples, output training samples, and apart from that we are providing one more thing is called as validation data. What is validation data? It is a test data. So what, there is some difference between a test data and a validation data. What is that difference? See, test data, previously what we did is, okay, so we manually verified that one, right? In the previous example cases and all, like if you are taking in the decision tree classification, we had a training set and test set. So we used the training set to train our model. After the test set was used to again predict the results, right? After that we compared the accuracy of the model. But here the model itself will use this test data to cross verify the training performance during the training itself, and it produces what is the validation accuracy. So that's why this is called as validation data. So normally validation data will be helpful in building a better models, because there the validation of your model, that means how your model is performing on a training data, that can be verified instantly during the training itself. So there it performs better means we can use that such kind of a model for the future usage. Okay. So afterwards you can use another kind of test data to cross verify that also. Okay. So now this is a validation data we are using. We are passing your test and this one. So normally you will notice that in the test data we don't provide the y test. Okay. So only use the input and we'll check, we'll get the output, and manually we'll compare with the ground truth of the output. Okay. That is a major difference between your test data and the validation data. So normally all sorts of neural network, whether whatever may the application you're using it, whether you're using it for regression or classification, whether using images or speech data or any other data. Okay. So normally validation is one of the important criteria here, because we always look for the validation accuracy to be high during the all sorts of training compared to the training data. It should be almost equivalent to the training accuracy. If that is happens, that means your model is performing better. Let us give some training sample iterations like 5 epochs. I am going to train your model in batches of 200 images in each batch. Okay. So let us start training the model. Each iteration you will get 200 images into 300, so you will get 60,000 images for one iteration, one epoch. So what is accuracy we received? 97.68. That is a validation accuracy. This is the training accuracy, what you can see here. So it is it has improved, and it is so comparable to your training accuracy and the validation accuracy. So training accuracy and validation accuracy. So let's wait for a few seconds. Okay, I think it will get completed so that you can see actually how the training is happening. So our training accuracy is almost reaching the good accuracy level of 99%. So we got the accuracy about training accuracy about 99% and validation accuracy about 98%, 98.64, and both are very close to each other. That means this model performs better. So what is the next step? Well, we can do it here. So we saw that from the accuracies what we got, so it is working fine and model is performing better. Okay. So if you want to cross verify with some sorts of input images, you can cross verify. So how does this giving the accuracies? Okay, how it is performing well. Any questions so far? Rohit? Rohit? You there? See that. So digit classifier dot predict is the method to verify for the some other data samples. I am taking the sample starting from test sample 0 to 5. Okay, so let me take that one. So and I'll print the R1 and will show you the result of the R1. You can see here R1. Okay, so it is having a percentage 0.999, 9.1999, and here its value is 9.99 for and this position. That means this is where actually the digit is present. This is the digit predicted. For that we are getting a 9.99 into 10 to the power of minus 1, that means 0.99. that is the accuracy you are getting it. For others, they are in terms of 10 to the power of minus 0.8, 10 to the power of minus 10, that means they are very low, these values are, okay. And if you find out, okay, so in this column, in this second set, okay, totally 0 to 5 means how many values are there? It is taking the 0th digit from the test data. 0 1 2 3 4 totally 5 digits have been taken, okay. So what are those digits? Okay, so if you check, okay, by printing them, okay, so I'm going to print all of them by using this method. Add it, you can copy the cell, and I'm going to paste it here. So this is what we got it. So paste cell, this option is not coming. Okay, I don't require this. I'm going to use the test sample which are starting from 0 to 5. Let me plot that one. I'm going to use a 2 rows 3 column, or yeah, 3 column. So let me take one more digit so that I can print more. Okay, let us see what are the digits we are using it here. 230, 2 33, 234, 235 and 236, and let me print here what are actually the original values. Okay, so what are actually the original values? They are actually present here. X underscore test of 0. Okay, let me show you that result. 0 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so these are the actual digits we have passed in as the input. So plot of 235. So that means, so we have given 721041. These are as the inputs. Okay, you can see here in this example where the accuracy is more in the outcome. 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. For 7 only. So what is the actual output we got? 7 only, correct. And here if you look at 0 1 2, here is the more accuracy because it is 10 to the power of minus 1 compared to all other values. And in this example, if you look, what is the maximum value we are getting here, Akshata? For which digit we are getting here? Look at this data and tell me. The selected one. 0. Not able to see. Okay, see here you can see here, if you able to look at, this is 10 to the power of minus 0.5 0, and for 1 it is 10 to the power of minus 1, and remaining also they are more negative values only. Okay, so that means the accuracy is more for this one, that is for digit 1. So we are getting actually here also digit 1 only. This is the original one, and what we have predicted is also that one only. Got it? So now Shabana? Yes, Shaban. Okay, now tell me. So this is the outcome what we have it. From this we can locate it like this. But how do we do it automatically to get the numbers? What is the exact numbers? This is the ground truth. Yes. In the test data, 0 to 5 are the ground truth, and we are by looking at this we can tell that so model has predicted very close results only, right? Because if you look at this value is 1, and here also it is in the first position, the value is more here. So in order to get that, you can use the argument max function. You can use the argument max position to get the location of the result where the maximum value is present. Okay, so this will result, okay, get the location of maximum probability, and location will be the desired result. Yes, and if I print R3, you can see what are the digits predicted. See, 721041, 721041. So it's exactly, it has predicted the same results. You can take any arbitrary inputs and test it. Okay, so if you want me to test for another results, you can test it. Maybe like if I take in a test data, we have samples starting from 0 to 10,000, right? So maybe if you take it 5,000 to 5,006. Okay, I will directly show you the final result, what it has predicted. Okay, and then I'll show you the ground truth. It has predicted the outcome as 399841. Okay, and let us plot the original outcomes. Starting here, it is 5,000. Next 5,001 digit, 5,002, 5,003, 5,004, 5,005. 399841, the same numbers only we have predicted. Yes, so that's about how do you build your convolution network, how do you train them, how do you test them. Finally you have a good results also we got from the CNN for the digit classification, handwritten digit classification. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Any questions here? Shabana, Rohit, Anita, Akshata? Yes. Yes, Shaban. Convert it back to a 100, 1 image. Okay, 100,000, 10,000 rows and 1 column, and then I need to feed it to the neural network. So then hidden layers will look into the features and they will learn from that, and it can give the result also. Okay, it also works fine, no issues at all. Okay, the problem with the neural network is, okay, the number of neurons required and the processing time will be very high. Okay, so you to look at the how many neurons are required, 10,000, like, so it is going to be a time consuming task. Okay, and if larger images are there and more complicated images are there, they cannot learn better. So for that purpose, what is done is the convolution neural networks have been built. Okay, they take directly the 2D input image as it is. Okay, so there will be a convolution layer, so which will have a some sorts of filters inside them. As per, depending on how many filters you choose it, they learn the important features from that input given image by applying the filters onto the input image. So that is by default we need not to give any features, they can learn the features themselves. Okay, so after learning the features, so resultant pixels will be sent to the activation function like ReLU. Then max pooling will be used to keep only the important feature, and it will try to reduce the unimportant features inside it. Okay, like if you get a output with the like if you get output like 1 3 4 5, it keeps only the 5 as a outcome, it discards the 1 3 4 as a unimportant features. Okay, so that is it done in the max pooling to keep only the important features in the image. Still it represents the image only, still it will be representing the input image. Then you will convert the 2D outcome to a 1D outcome so as to connect to the hidden layers, just like in the ANN. So this is what the structure of your convolution neural network. Okay, they will have hidden layers, again activation function will be there, then you will get a final outcome. For this purpose we have used these things inside your code. So we have used sequential, just like in neural network we use the same thing to build a neural network. So dense to build the layers, hidden layers. Okay. So additionally we use what, convolution 2D to build the convolution layer, and max pooling to 2D to build the max pooling layer, and flatten to build the flatten layer, that is to convert the 2D to 1D. So here in building the model we start with sequential, that is the model we have to create. First layer will be convolution layer with the 32 filters and 5 rows and 5 columns. It is the size of the filter. What is the size of the filter? Maybe you have some class in the OpenCV about the filters, like edge reduction filters will be there, then average filter to reduce the smoothness of your image or increase the sharpness of the image, like standard different features. Filters will be used. How many filters? 32 filters will be used here. Then this is the shape of your input image. Directly you will take the input as it is. Activation function is ReLU. So then you have a max pooling layer, so which will try to reduce the unimportant features and keeps only the important feature. Then flatten layer, no need to give any parameters here, so just it will flatten the 2D input output of the max pooling to a 1D output. So then you have here the dense layer, like hidden layer, and a 10 possible outcomes. So this is the basic structure what we have built now. So this is the reference architecture of your convolution neural network. Okay, so they work just like your neural networks only. Okay, so as usual they train the model, so they start learning the important features from the images, and they cross verify with the outcome what they get, like error calculation will happen, and based upon that weight adjustment also happens in the convolution neural network also. Here also you have a forward propagation and backward propagation both. So since this is an example of multiple classification, we use the categorical underscore cross entropy method. So that's the basic introduction. So you can, for detailed explanation, go back to the previous video. Okay, Shima.